Chapter 1. The Invisible Architects. Before there were planets, before there were stars, before there was light as we understand it, there was silence. Not an empty silence, not a lifeless silence, but a silence filled with possibility. A vast, endless ocean of darkness, scattered with tiny, drifting travelers. So small, so delicate, so ancient, we call them cosmic dust. And though they float unseen through the universe, they are the invisible architects of everything that exists, including you. Take a slow breath and imagine space, not as a place of emptiness, but as a gentle sea of floating particles, suspended in timeless motion. Each tiny grain smaller than a grain of sand, smaller than a whisper, yet carrying within it the history of stars. These particles are not ordinary dust. They are fragments of ancient suns, shattered echoes of stellar explosions, ashes of stars that lived, burned, and died billions of years before the Earth was ever imagined. This is where our story begins. Not in a galaxy, not in a star system, not even in time as we understand it, but inside the quiet drift of cosmic dust. Float with them now, drifting, spinning, gliding through the endless black. Each particle carries a secret. Atoms of carbon, oxygen, iron, gold. Elements born only in the hearts of dying stars. These grains are older than Earth, older than the sun, older than memory. They existed when the universe was still learning how to become itself. Long before mountains rose, long before oceans moved, long before your first breath, cosmic dust was already traveling. Not with purpose, not with direction, but guided by invisible currents of gravity and time. Soft collisions, gentle merges, like snowflakes touching in slow motion, sometimes sticking, sometimes drifting apart, always moving, always becoming something new. And as the universe aged, these tiny grains began to gather. Not in a rush, not in chaos, but in a slow, patient dance of attraction. Gravity, the soft sculptor of the cosmos, began whispering to them, "Come closer." And they listened. One grain becomes two, two become three, three become a small cloud, a cloud that slowly grows thicker, denser, heavier, until darkness itself feels full. This is not emptiness. This is creation in its quietest form. Cosmic nurseries, vast clouds of gas and dust stretching across light years of space, become the cradles of everything that will ever exist. Inside them, no sound, no light, just potential, particles gently brushing against one another, building, layer by layer, moment by moment, as millions of years pass like soft heartbeats. You are here now, in the presence of these invisible architects, watching as the universe begins, not with explosions, but with whispers. Inside these vast, floating clouds, time doesn't move in seconds or minutes or even years. It moves in millions of years. Each moment stretched so wide it feels eternal. The cosmic dust drifts slowly, softly, like pale snowflakes floating through deep space. But nothing here is random. Each tiny particle feels the quiet pull of gravity, a gentle nudge, a whispered invitation to come closer. And as they drift, they begin to gather. Invisible threads of gravity weave between them, forming faint filaments, like silken spider webs spun across the void. These clouds grow thicker, colder, denser, until even light begins to struggle to pass through. Within this darkness, creation stirs. Pressure builds, not violently, but patiently. A soft, steady compression, like a deep, endless breath being drawn by the universe itself. At the heart of the cloud, dust and gas fold inward. Atoms brush against one another, not colliding, but embracing. Hydrogen, helium, carbon begin to intertwine, weaving the first invisible threads of stars yet to be born. This is how the universe dreams, not in flashes, not in chaos, but in quiet, delicate, unseen motion. Somewhere inside these clouds, something begins to glow. Not a flame, not brightness, just warmth. A faint memory of light, the slow birth of pressure and temperature, until a star is imagined, but not yet born, not yet awake, still sleeping, still gathering itself. All of it begins with dust, each grain a memory of a star that once lived, each particle a traveler older than our sun, each speck quietly shaping the future. And as these grains gather, they form tiny clumps, pebbles of softly compacted stardust, drifting like islands through a sea of darkness. Over ages, these pebbles become larger, forming the early seeds of planets. Cold, silent, dormant, like worlds asleep. You are watching solar systems in their earliest dreams, long before warmth, long before light, long before sound. Just dust, moving through eternity, a gentle, silent architecture, being written by gravity itself. As the dust gathers, as the clouds thicken, something ancient awakens. Not suddenly, not loudly, but like the slow opening of tired eyes after a very long sleep. Deep inside the cloud, gravity tightens its embrace. Matter turns inward, curling, spiraling, falling gently toward an invisible center. Here, time feels heavier, the darkness wraps tighter around itself, and warmth begins to bloom. The cold dust, once scattered and lonely, now feels the comfort of closeness. Particles no longer drift apart, they begin to circle. A slow cosmic dance, spiraling inward like a soft, eternal whirlpool. And at the heart of this spiral, pressure builds. Temperature rises until at last, light becomes inevitable. A star is born, not in violence, but in quiet ignition. A soft, brilliant spark, piercing the darkness for the very first time. Within that newborn star, something sacred happens. Fusion begins. Hydrogen becomes helium. Helium becomes heavier elements. And in the core of that quiet fire, the building blocks of life are being forged. Carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, iron. Elements that one day will flow through blood, bone, and breath are being born inside this silent furnace. But still, the story of dust is not finished. Because stars, even the gentlest ones, do not live forever. Millions of years pass like slow, heavy waves. The star glows, shines, radiates its warmth into the endless dark. And as it ages, it begins to swell, like a deep breath reaching its gentle limit, until one day, after eons of quiet burning, it reaches the end of its long, luminous stream, and then it releases itself. Not in anger, not in destruction, but in generosity. A supernova, a soft cosmic exhale that scatters everything it has become back into the universe. Stardust, reborn, richer, heavier, filled with new possibilities. This dust is no longer simple. It carries complex elements, molecules, memories, the refined ashes of stellar hearts. And it begins its journey again, floating, drifting, wandering, looking for new clouds, new stars, new worlds, new lives. And somewhere, far in the future, it will become part of you. The stardust drifts once more, fresh from the heart of an ancient star, carrying the warmth of creation through the cold silence of space. It floats through the galaxy, not as debris but as seeds. Each tiny grain glimmers with invisible history, the story of fusion, of light, of time. The galaxy feels larger now, layered, alive, rich with clouds of gas and dust that shimmer faintly in the dark, like sleeping giants wrapped in velvet shadows. These are stellar nurseries, vast, gentle wombs of creation. Here, dust doesn't sleep. It listens. Gravity hums softly like a lullaby, calling the grains back together again. Not quickly, not urgently, just patiently. They drift, they gather, they collect, forming new clouds, new filaments, new spirals. Each movement slow enough to feel like eternity, Some grains begin to cling, electrostatic whispers pulling them close, tiny fragments bonding, forming fragile clusters, delicate cosmic snowballs, floating quietly through the abyss, and time keeps flowing. Millions of years wash over them like slow tides. These tiny clumps become larger, grain by grain, layer by layer, until pebbles of stardust begin to form. Small, cold, silent. They are the first quiet dreams of planets. Nothing here is rushed, nothing is loud, just endless patience, just soft construction, just cosmic design, written eye silence. And among this drifting architecture, something forms that feels familiar. A rotating disk, a slow circular whisper of dust and gas, spinning around a newborn star. This is how solar systems begin, not with chaos, but with curves. Soft circles of material, orbiting, gliding, like a slow celestial ballet. Inside this disk the dusk thickens. Rings of matter grow dense, like gentle ripples frozen in time. Tiny grains collide, not in violence, but in tender contact. They stick, they grow, they become more than they were. This is the blueprint of worlds. Cold worlds, sleeping worlds, worlds waiting, a future Earth, not yet shaped, not yet warm, not yet alive, but already imagined, within the slow dance of dust. Gravity hums softly like a lullaby, calling the grains back together again. Not quickly, not urgently, just patiently. They drift, they gather, they collect, forming new clouds, new filaments, new spirals. Each movement slow enough to feel like eternity. Some grains begin to cling, electrostatic whispers pulling them close, tiny fragments bonding, forming fragile clusters, delicate cosmic snowballs, floating quietly through the abyss. And time keeps flowing. Millions of years wash over them like slow tides. These tiny clumps become larger, grain by grain, layer by layer, until pebbles of stardust begin to form. Small, cold, silent. They are the first quiet dreams of planets. Nothing here is rushed, nothing is loud, just endless patience, just soft construction, just cosmic design, written eye silence. And among this drifting architecture, something forms that feels familiar. A rotating disk, a slow circular whisper of dust and gas, spinning around a newborn star. This is how solar systems begin, not with chaos, but with curves. Soft circles of material, orbiting, gliding, like a slow celestial ballet. Inside this disk the dust thickens. Rings of matter grow dense, like gentle ripples frozen in time. Tiny grains collide, not in violence, but in tender contact. They stick, they grow, they become more than they were. This is the blueprint of worlds. Cold worlds, sleeping worlds, worlds waiting, a future Earth, not yet shaped, not yet warm, not yet alive, but already imagined, within the spinning disk, within the slow circular cradle of dust and gas. The future begins to take form. Large grains grow heavier, gravity presses gently, and the disk begins to organize itself. Light and shadow swirl together, forming soft bands of matter, like rings drawn across a dark ocean. Some regions become thick, dense, heavy, and in those places, the first planetesimals are born. Tiny worlds the size of mountains, floating silently through space. They drift, they meet, they touch, not crashing, but merging. Piece by piece, layer by layer, worlds begin to assemble, stone laid upon stone, dust fused to dust, until objects large enough to shape their own destiny appear. These are not yet planets, but they are no longer just dust. There's something in between, half dream, half world, and hidden inside them are the same elements forged in ancient stars. Iron that once flowed in stellar cores, Carbon that once shimmered inside dying suns. Oxygen breathed into existence by nuclear fire. All of it, traveling now toward a single future, toward a single world. A blue world, a quiet world, a world that will one day awaken. The young sun glows softly at the center, not fierce, not harsh, just warm enough to guide the spinning disk. And from the dust, the earth begins to imagine itself. Not yet oceans, not yet skies, just heat, stone, silence, a newborn planet, floating in darkness, still wrapped in cosmic memory, still carrying stardust in its veins. Every grain, every fragment, every invisible particle, older than time, older than thought, older than language. And yet, they already belong to you. They are already preparing your atoms, your bones, your breath, your thoughts. Long before your first heartbeat, the universe was building you, quietly, patiently. Grain by grain, the young sun breathes quietly, not fierce, not blazing, but gentle, steady, a soft golden heart glowing in endless dark. Around it, the great disk of dust and gas continues to turn, slowly, patiently, like a sky made of liquid light. Here, motion feels like memory. Nothing rushes, nothing breaks. Everything flows. The dust no longer wanders aimlessly. It has direction now. It circles, it glides. It follows invisible paths carved by gravity. The universe has shifted from chaos to choreography. And inside this slow, sacred dance, worlds begin to truly awaken. Tiny particles brush together, again and again and again. Each touch a whisper, each contact a promise. They stick, not because they must, but because they are meant to. Clumps form, grains become clusters, clusters become stones, and stones begin to feel, weigh. They are no longer just travelers. They are becoming homes for gravity. Gravity gently wraps around them like a blanket of intention, helping them grow, helping them gather more dust, more fragments, more memories of stars. Each growing body carries within it ashes of supernova, breath of dying stars, and the silent wisdom of galaxies older than time. Around the sun, rings of matter sharpen. Some lanes clear, others grow dense, like invisible hands softly shaping a sculpture. Gravity curves the disk into structure, and amidst the quiet, a pattern emerges. Inner worlds, outer worlds, pathways for future orbits, etched into the silence. Outward, the dust becomes cold. Inward, it becomes warm. And the distance between these regions becomes sacred. This boundary, this delicate line, is where different destinies are born. Here, gas giants begin to dream. There, rocky worlds begin to form. All from dust, all from memory, all from silence. You drift through this ancient construction, watching planetary seeds glide past you, watching fragments of future moons sleep inside soft collisions. Some impacts are gentle, some are transformative, but none are violent, because here, violence does not exist. Only creation, only patience, only time wider than oceans and deeper than sleep. Far from the young sun, where the light thins into a soft silver hush, the dust becomes ice. Tiny grains grow coats of frozen water, methane, ammonia, layer by layer, slowly crystallizing in the endless cold. These grains feel heavier, cooler, more distant from warmth, yet still gently turning in the tidal pull of gravity. Here, giants begin to imagine themselves. Massive clouds of gas drift like sleeping whales through the void, slowly collapsing, slowly collecting, until their hearts become thick, dense, and ready to awaken. These will become the gas giants, worlds of wind and cloud, planets with no surface to stand on, but with storms that will rage for centuries. But still, their cores begin as dust, a soft frozen clump, a silent seed, holding itself together by nothing more than the invisible touch of gravity. Closer to the young sun, the dust moves differently. There's warmth here, not heat but comfort, the kind of warmth that allows stone to form, metal to condense, and rock to cling together. This is where Earth will be born, but it does not know it yet. It is still only dust, still only fragments floating, waiting, listening, letting gravity gently decide its shape. The particles meet again and again, forming larger and larger bodies, each collision soft, each merge careful, as if guided by an ancient, loving hand. And somewhere among thousands of silent orbits, two large bodies meet, not violently, purposefully. They drift together, closer, closer, until they become one. This is how planets grow, not through force, but through belonging. Dust recognizing dust, stone recognizing stone, a quiet understanding written into the physics of existence. The disk begins to thin, the chaos fades, the paths become clean, clear orbits begin to appear, like sacred lines drawn by light itself. The sun now watches over its children, each orbiting in their one quiet dream. And among them, a small rocky world begins to stabilize. It spins, slowly, awkwardly, still warm from its making, still soft around the edges, still unsure of what it will become. This is the beginning of Earth, not as a paradise, but as a quiet promise. The young Earth drifts in silence, a quiet sphere of stone and memory, still wrapped in the warmth of its own becoming. There's no sky yet, no ocean, no green, only rock, heat, and deep dreaming darkness. Meteor after meteor falls gently toward it, not as destruction, but as delivery. Each one is a messenger, a carrier of ancient dust, older than the sun, older than the earth itself. They bring gifts, ice locked inside stone, carbon frozen in time, molecules that will one day learn how to breathe. They arrive softly, as if they've traveled across eternity just to find this one world. The surface of Earth glows, not with life, but with possibility. Volcanoes breathe quietly, exhaling gases into the emptiness above, where a sky has not yet learned how to exist. Steam rises, but there is no air to carry it. Only darkness, only silence, only waiting. And yet, within the rock, within the dust, within the falling fragments of forgotten stars, chemistry begins to whisper. Atoms meet, molecules stretch toward one another. Chains of carbon begin to curl and form, like soft, invisible ribbons floating through molten stone. This is not yet life, but it is the beginning of a language, a quiet grammar of existence, being written with dust and fire. Above, the moon does not yet exist. Below, the earth continues to spin. And somewhere between, the universe is very slowly learning how to become conscious. All of it guided by dust, all of it born from stars, all of it aimed towards you. As the young earth spins, slowly cooling, still molten in places, a great visitor approaches. A body, once a wanderer of the solar system, drifts close, guided by gravity's invisible hand. It collides, not with anger, not with chaos, but with soft inevitability. The impact shakes the world, splashes molten rock into the void, and from this gentle upheaval, the moon is born, a companion, spinning in harmony, reflecting the faint light of the sun, a silent witness to the earth's first days. And the dust continues its work. Tiny particles, once part of faraway stars, now settle on the surface, gently coating it, forming layers, building mountains, preparing valleys, softening the edges of newborn landscapes. Time stretches. Hundreds of millions of years pass like a slow flowing river. Water begins to arrive, delivered in secret by icy comets, by hydrated meteorites, by the whispered gift of stardust itself. Rain falls softly, collecting in basins, forming oceans, shallow at first, then deeper, then vast, a silent cradle for life yet unborn. And in these waters, dust and minerals mingle, carbon, nitrogen, phosphorus, gently forming the primordial soup, the slow, soft stirrings of chemistry, the quiet prelude to life. Every atom, every molecule, has traveled across the galaxy to arrive here. And now it rests quietly, patiently, awaiting the moment when chemistry will become biology, when dust will remember it is alive. Above, the sun warms the surface gently. Winds begin to stir. Currents move through oceans, and the earth spins steadily. A planet fully awake in its slow cosmic rhythm. All of this, all of it, built from dust. Not just any dust, but the dust of stars, the dust of the universe that once drifted silently through empty space before being called by gravity, before being gathered, before being shaped into worlds, before it would one day flow through you. The Earth now turns steadily in its orbit, a quiet planet of rock and water, a sphere of shadow and light, still young, still learning. Around it, the solar system hums softly. Other planets spin, other moons drift, asteroids wander, all held together by invisible threads of gravity, all born from dust, all part of the same slow choreography. Everywhere, dust continues to fall. Tiny grains from distant stars, micrometeorites, cosmic whispers of what came before, settling gently into oceans, nestling into rocks, blending into the very soil. This dust carries memories, memories of stars that lived and died, of supernova exploding in silent brilliance, of ancient galaxies spinning long before the sun was born, and now their echoes are inside this world. The first continents began to rise. Volcanic mountains pierce the clouds, oceans lap at their feet, currents swirl in unseen patterns. And still, the dust continues its work, mixing, building, nurturing, preparing the stage for life. It is easy to forget that each element of Earth, from the iron in its core, to the calcium in its rocks, to the carbon in the oceans, once existed in the heart of a distant star, or drifted alone across interstellar space, long before gravity gathered it here, long before Earth had a name. And in this slow, quiet building, one can sense the inevitability, the whisper of destiny written in dust. Every grain, every particle, every fragment has come together, layer by layer, moment by moment, to create this fragile, spinning, breathing world. A world that will one day host oceans, mountains, skies, and the first sparks of life. And someday, billions of years later, you, who carry within your body the same atoms, the same dust, the same silent memories of ancient stars. The earth spins on. The sun warms it. The planets glide silently in their orbits. And cosmic dust, the invisible architect, continues its quiet, eternal work. The universe whispers, from dust comes worlds, from worlds comes life. From life comes consciousness, and from consciousness comes wonder. Chapter 3. The Cosmic Recipe for Life. The Earth is no longer just rock and water. It is a world of possibility, a quiet cradle of potential, a planet slowly breathing in the rhythm of the cosmos. The dust that built it has settled. It has merged. It has found its place. But its work is not finished. Among the rocks, in the oceans, within the steaming pools of primordial chemistry, the smallest grains begin to whisper. They carry the ingredients of life: carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur, iron. Elements forged in the hearts of stars, carried across the galaxy, delivered gently by comets, by meteorites, by the quiet persistence of dust. These grains, These tiny messengers are no longer just matter. They are the alphabet of creation. Slowly, patiently, they mix and mingle. They collide softly in the warm oceans, bond, separate, and bond again. Over millions of years, chains of carbon curl, fold, twist, forming simple molecules, amino acids, sugars, nucleotides, the building blocks of life itself. Imagine the oceans of early Earth, not yet teeming, but simmering quietly, like a cosmic kitchen, preparing recipes written in stardust. Each molecule, each grain, each atom remembers its origin. The carbon in your cells, once part of a supernova, once part of a distant star, once floating alone in the emptiness of space, now drifts in a primordial soup, ready to form something extraordinary. Time flows, slowly, softly. Days, centuries, eons pass, and the molecules become more complex, folding into patterns, arranging themselves into chains, and forming the first faint echoes of life. And somewhere, in this quiet symphony of chemistry, a miracle happens. The molecules begin to replicate, to interact, to carry information, to respond to their environment. A process so subtle, so slow, so impossibly quiet, that the universe barely notices. But it has begun. Life is no longer a possibility. It is a whisper, a shadow, a promise, written in the language of stardust. Every atom in your body, every element in every living thing, has traveled billions of years, across galaxies, through explosions and quiet drifts, to arrive here, to participate in this grand, delicate experiment. And all of it began. The oceans of early Earth shimmer quietly under the young sun, not yet blue, not yet filled with light, but rich, dense, alive with potential. Within these vast pools, dust and minerals mingle, settling softly, forming layers, building the stage for life. Every grain carries its own story. The iron from ancient stars, the carbon from a long-dead supernova, the oxygen whispered from distant nebulae. They float together, collide, combine, forming molecules, the first chemistry of life. And in these molecular dances, patterns begin to emerge. Chains of carbon curl, rings of nitrogen twist, sugars linked gently with phosphates, folding, twisting, preparing to encode the future. Life begins not as a shout, not as a sudden explosion, but as a soft, persistent hum, so quiet that only patience can hear it. Time stretches, millions of years pass like slow tides, and the molecules grow more complex. RNA forms, DNA begins to dream, amino acids fold into proteins, and a simple cell takes its first breath. So small, so fragile, yet carrying the legacy of the universe itself. It is a quiet miracle, a whispered affirmation that the universe, through dust, through patience, through billions of years of motion, has chosen to create, to remember itself, to live again in these tiny cells. And as these cells divide as they float in the oceans, they interact, they evolve, learning, growing, adapting, writing their own story, but always, always remembering their origin. For every atom of their being, every particle of carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, has traveled across galaxies, drifted through nebulae, survived stellar explosions, and finally arrived here to participate in life on this quiet blue planet. Imagine that. The dust that drifted alone in the void, the dust that traveled light years, is now part of oceans, is now part of rocks, is now part of you. This is the cosmic recipe. Simple ingredients, long journeys, patient chemistry, and the soft, quiet birth of life itself. The universe whispers, from dust comes molecules, from molecules comes cells, from cells comes you. The oceans ripple gently under the young sun, not with wind or storm, but with quiet motion, a soft pulse of energy, a heartbeat of possibility. Within these pools, cosmic dust mingles with water, minerals, and molecules, forming networks, webs of connection, the first hints of complexity. Every collision, every bond is a conversation, a whisper of what is possible, a note in the quiet symphony of life. Carbon chains twist, fold, curl, searching for stability, for a partner, for a purpose. Nitrogen links softly, phosphates join the dance, and oxygen binds them together, forming the backbone, the silent script of life. Time stretches. Millions of years pass like a slow, endless tide, and the primordial soup grows richer, denser, more alive, not in motion you can see, but in quiet potential, vibrating with the pulse of the universe. Tiny cells emerge, so small they are invisible to the eye, yet they carry the full history of the cosmos, every atom, every particle, a remnant of an ancient star, of cosmic dust that once drifted alone in the void. These cells multiply, they interact, they learn the rhythm of water, the warmth of the sun, the pull of gravity, and in doing so, they become more than dust. They become life, and from life comes evolution, a slow, patient process measured in eons, shaping, refining, adapting, guided by the chemistry of stardust, by the atoms that once lived in stars, by the universe itself. It is here, in these oceans, that the blueprint of all future life begins. The first proteins, the first nucleotides, the first self-replicating molecules carry in them the memory of galaxies, of supernova, of cosmic dust that traveled across time and space to arrive in this quiet, fragile world. And so when you think of life, think of dust. Think of stars that died so that you might live. Think of comets that delivered the seeds of molecules. Think of oceans that cradled the first cells. You are the continuation of that ancient journey. The universe breathing, remembering, alive within you. The oceans hum quietly, not with sound but with motion, with potential, with the gentle rhythm of creation itself. Every molecule, every grain of cosmic dust carries its memory, a whisper of stars that lived and died, a trace of light that traveled across galaxies to arrive here. In these soft, warm waters, tiny cells begin to interact, swimming through the primordial soup, bumping softly into one another, sharing molecules, exchanging the silent code of life. The first metabolism begins, a slow exchange of energy, a quiet chemistry powered by stardust, and time flows, eons passing like gentle waves, washing across continents that have not yet formed, over oceans that cradle life in tender darkness, beneath skies that have not yet learned to breathe. Life begins to diversify, cells split, mutate, adapt, all guided by the subtle patterns written in dust. From carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, from phosphorus, sulfur, iron, come the first proteins. From proteins come reactions. From reactions comes order. From order emerges complexity. The first blue-green algae drift in the waters, capturing light, transforming it, preparing the atmosphere for the world to come. And the dust, the ancient wandering dust, is still there. Every particle that helped form Earth, every atom that once lived in a distant star, still participates. It forms membranes, it forms enzymes, it forms the very scaffolding of life. You are here now because of this slow, patient work, because of the soft, persistent artistry of cosmic dust, the invisible architect of existence. Every breath you take, every cell in your body, every thought is written in dust. And as the first life multiplies, as oceans fill with cells, as chemistry becomes biology, the universe smiles quietly, recognizing itself, living again, through you. The oceans are alive, not with sound, not with motion that can be seen, but with the invisible pulse of life itself. Tiny cells multiply, drift, interact, sharing the code of existence. And everywhere, the dust remains. Every atom, every particle, a witness to time, a messenger from stars that have long since faded, a silent participant in creation. Through countless eons, the chemistry of life grows more complex. Simple cells combine, interacting with their environment, adapting, learning, evolving, shaped by both the gentle hand of gravity and the soft whispers of stardust. Rivers form from the rain, oceans deepen, continents begin to rise. The earth itself becomes a living system, all orchestrated by the slow choreography of cosmic dust. And in each breath, each heartbeat, each thought that will one day exist, there is dust. Dust older than the earth, dust older than the sun, dust older than memory, now alive, now flowing through you. It is humbling, it is astonishing, and it is true. You are made of stardust. Every part of your body, every element that gives you life, was once floating alone in the emptiness of space, drifting, wandering, awaiting its moment, to become part of oceans, rocks, life, and eventually. And so the cosmic recipe is complete. From dust to molecules to cells, from simple life to complexity, from the silent drift of ancient stars to the living conscious being reading these words. The universe is within you. It flows through you. It remembers itself in you. Take a slow breath and feel it. The journey of cosmic dust from the hearts of stars to the oceans of early earth to the cells that form your body is complete yet infinite, because the dust, the architect, the patient traveler, continues its quiet journey, always moving, always shaping, always creating, and always carrying a part of you. Chapter 4: Hunting for Interstellar Clues. The universe is vast, silent, endless, yet within that emptiness, traces of our origins drift quietly, tiny ancient grains of cosmic dust, carrying the history of stars, of galaxies, of the building blocks of life itself. These are not just specks of matter. They are time capsules, messengers from the distant past, clues to the story of everything, including you. Imagine a grain of dust, no bigger than a particle of smoke, yet older than the earth, older than the sun, traveled across light years, through supernova and nebulae, surviving the void, before landing gently on our planet. How do we find these whispers of the cosmos? Scientists have become cosmic detectives, following the faintest trails, tracking the softest signals, collecting the tiniest particles, and reading the silent messages they carry. Some dust falls from the sky. Micrometeorites drift down, landing softly in the ice of Antarctica, in the sands of deserts, in places so quiet, so untouched, that the dust is preserved perfectly, like letters mailed across eons of time. Comets carry it too, frozen travelers from the outer solar system, bearing ancient material from the dawn of creation, drifting inward, leaving trails of stardust in their wake like cosmic breadcrumbs, pointing us back to our beginnings. And then there are the missions, spacecraft sent beyond Earth, reaching out to touch the dust directly, to capture it from comet tails, to bring it home, for us to study, to understand, to hold the echoes of stars in our hands. Each particle is a story, each grain a chapter of the universe's diary. They tell us how stars form, how planets emerge, how the ingredients for life are scattered through the galaxy, carried by cosmic winds, and deposited on worlds waiting to be awakened. And when scientists analyze these grains, they discover surprises. Some are perfectly preserved, pristine samples of interstellar dust, older than any star in our solar system. Some carry isotopes, elements that could only have formed in ancient supernova. Some even hold molecules, the very molecules that can become life, reminding us, quietly, that the universe has been building us, long before we existed. And as we hold these grains, an awe washes over us, tiny specks, carrying the secrets of billions of years, reminding us that we are not separate from the cosmos. We are part of it, made of the same dust, connected to every star, every galaxy, every planet, every moment of the story of cosmic dust is not just ancient, it is happening now. Scientists scour the deserts, digging in icy expanses of Antarctica, searching for micrometeorites, tiny travelers that drift silently to Earth, landing softly, each one a piece of a puzzle billions of years in the making. They sweep through the sands, collect samples with delicate instruments, and under the microscope witness miracles. Fragments of stars, glimmers of supernova, molecules that predate our sun, all quietly waiting to be found. Space missions reach further. Spacecraft like Stardust collect comet particles, drifting through tails of ice and rock, capturing grains of dust that have journeyed across the solar system, like messages in bottles floating across time and space. And then, when the dust returns to Earth, scientists peer into it with the sharpest tools humanity has, scanning electron microscopes, mass spectrometers, chemical analyses. Some grains show isotopes, signatures of stars that exploded long before Earth existed. Some reveal organic molecules, building blocks of life, hinting that the ingredients for biology were traveling through space, long before life began here. These discoveries are profound, like finding letters written by the universe, spanning billions of years, telling us we are part of a vast, interconnected story. Even the tiniest particles, smaller than a grain of sand, carry evidence of processes that shaped galaxies, stars, and planets. They whisper to us, reminding us that we are not isolated, not separate, not alone. Every atom in your body, every molecule in your cells, was once among these drifting grains. Every breath, every thought, every heartbeat connects you to the silent wanderers of space, the cosmic architects that shape not only the Earth, but life itself. And as we continue to explore, we realize the universe is patient. It tells its story slowly, carefully, one grain of dust at a time. Every discovery, every sample, every microscopic particle is a clue, leading us back to the origins of everything we know and everything we are. The cosmos is alive in its memory, and we, made of dust, are its living testimony. Some grains of cosmic dust are extraordinary, hidden in the ice of Antarctica, or embedded in ancient meteorites, are pristine particles, older than our solar system, older than Earth itself, witnesses to the first moments of galaxies forming, to stars being born, to supernova scattering their remains across the void. Scientists examine these grains and find tiny structures, like microscopic time capsules, preserving secrets of the universe. Some particles are crystalline, formed under unimaginable heat and pressure in stars that no longer exist. Some are amorphous, gently formed in the cold voids between stars, and some carry the elements of life, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, molecules that could form amino acids, the very building blocks of living cells, quietly traveling through space for billions of years until they arrive on Earth, delivering the recipe for life. Even more astonishing, some grains are interstellar. They did not originate in our solar system at all. They drifted here from other star systems, billions of miles across the emptiness of space, crossing galactic boundaries, and finally resting on our planet. Holding one of these grains is like holding a fragment of eternity, a tiny remnant of stars that exploded long before humans existed, long before Earth formed, yet now part of us, and part of the story we continue to write. These discoveries remind us we are intimately connected to the cosmos. The atoms in our bodies, the molecules that sustain us, once drifted through space, witnessed the birth and death of stars, and finally came together here to form a living world. Every comet, every meteorite, every floating speck carries the same message. The universe is patient, the universe is creative, and we are part of its design. In every particle of dust, there is history, there is memory, there is life waiting to be understood, waiting to remind us that we are in every sense children of the stars. And as we continue to hunt, as we continue to explore, we realize the universe has left us clues, not just about the earth, but about ourselves, about where we come from, and what we are made of. The search becomes quieter now, not rushed, not hurried, but thoughtful, patient, like listening to the breath of the universe itself. Scientists sit in silent laboratories under soft lights, surrounded by instruments that can see the invisible and touch the untouchable. They place a single grain of dust beneath the lens, a grain so small it could disappear in a blink, yet holding within it the memory of stars, of supernova, of ancient forgotten light. Layer by layer, they peel back time. They find isotopic fingerprints, unlike anything formed on Earth. They see atomic patterns that could only exist in the hearts of stars. And in these patterns, there is certainty that long before Earth existed, long before oceans formed, long before skies carried clouds, the universe was already preparing the ingredients for life. Some dust grains tell stories of gentle stellar winds, where dying stars softly exhaled their outer layers into space. Others bear the violent scars of supernova, explosions so powerful they shook galaxies, scattering elements across the cosmos. These grains drifted, cold, silent, alone, through endless darkness, until at last they found their way here, to Earth, to water, to stone, to life. And now, humans, made of the same dust, study it. This is the most beautiful circle. The universe, examining itself through you, through microscopes, through questions, through wonder. Every discovery whispers the same gentle truth. You belong to the stars. You're not separate. You are not small. You are a continuation of something vast, old, and endlessly creative. The further we look, the more we feel it. This quiet cosmic intimacy, this eternal connection between dust and life and consciousness. And slowly, thought by thought, grain by grain, we begin to understand the universe has always been alive, and you are one of its ways of remembering itself. The clues are everywhere now, not hidden, not secret, but gently resting in plain sight, in the sand, in the ice, in fallen starlight, in the quiet paths of comets, and in the smallest, most fragile grains of dust that drift silently through the sky. And as humanity listens, the universe responds, not with words, but with patterns, with ancient isotopes, with atomic fingerprints that stretch back billions of years. Each discovery is a soft awakening, a reminder that we are not born of Earth alone, but of stars and darkness and light and time. The more we study the dust, the more familiar it feels. Not foreign, not distant, but like a long-lost piece of ourselves, finally recognized. These grains do not just tell us how the universe works. They tell us who we are. They whisper, "You are ancient. You are cosmic. You are stardust that has learned to think, to breathe, to wonder." Every comet that passes, every meteor that falls, every particle that settles quietly on Earth is part of the same story, the story of transformation. From chaos to structure, from dust to worlds, from worlds to life, and now from life to awareness. The hunt for interstellar clues is not really about searching the sky. It is about remembering remembering that you are part of this endless story, that your atoms once danced in the hearts of stars, that your body is a galaxy, your breath a cosmic wind, your thoughts tiny flashes of universal light, and as the chapter closes, the dust continues to drift, quietly, patiently, endlessly, still carrying the secrets of creation, still tracing the path of your origins, still reminding the universe that it is alive inside you. Chapter 5, Your Place in the Cosmos. Now, the journey turns inward. After traveling through collapsing stars, through drifting nebulae, across ancient galaxies, we arrive here with you. You sit quietly on this small blue world, breathing softly, while the universe hums around you. And within that breath, within that quiet rise and fall of your chest, are atoms as old as time itself, carbon from dying stars, oxygen born in stellar furnaces, iron forged in violent supernova. You are not separate from the night sky. You are made of it. Every thought you think, every memory you hold, every dream you drift through, exists because cosmic dust chose, over billions of years, to gather, to combine, to awaken, inside you. The stars did not disappear. They transformed. They became oceans, stone, trees, and eventually, you. And when you lie quietly beneath the sky, watching distant constellations flicker in the distance, you are not looking at something foreign. You're looking at distant relatives, ancient ancestors, branches of the same endless cosmic family. The universe does not surround you. It lives within you. Your bones carry the memory of ancient explosions. Your blood remembers drifting through nebulae. Your breath echoes the winds of long-dead stars. You are the universe, paused for a moment to experience itself. And in this moment, you are enough. Settle deeper now, as we drift even farther back, past the birth of stars, past the shaping of galaxies, past the glowing seas of cosmic gas, and not the silence of empty space, but the silence before space itself existed. A silence so complete, so absolute, that even the idea of sound had never been imagined. No time, no direction, no light, no dark, only stillness. This is where your story truly begins. Long before stardust shaped your bones, before atoms danced into molecules, before oceans filled the earth, there was a quiet, unfathomable potential, waiting, a universe unborn, held in perfect balance. In this quiet, there was no loneliness, because nothing yet understood what it meant to be alone. This silence was not empty. It was full of all possibilities, a quiet breath held forever. Then, something shifted, not a sound, not a flash, but a tremble in what could soon become reality. A fluctuation, tiny and eternal. A spark of intent, the first whisper of existence. And from that whisper, everything began to unfold. Galaxies, stars, worlds, and eventually, you. But even now, you carry that silence inside of you. In every pause between your breaths, in the space between your heartbeats, in the stillness behind your thoughts, you are made of expansion, but also of stillness. The same stillness that existed before the universe learned how to glow. Drift with that thought. Let it rest gently within you. You are not separate from the beginning. You are the continuation of it. You are the silence, learning how to exist. The dust of stars may shape your body, but the quiet before stars shapes your soul. And as you rest now, you return gently to that silence, not as nothing, but as everything, at peace. No need to move, no need to think, no need to wonder, just float, just breathe, just be. And in this stillness, the universe is not somewhere far above you. It is right here. It is you, waiting, breathing, resting, exactly as it always has. Now, gently, allow yourself to drift even farther, not backward and not forward, but inward, into the quiet center of everything you have ever been. Imagine yourself floating in a soft, endless night sky, not as a body, but as a presence, a gentle awareness made of light and calm and time. You are no longer bound to a single place. You are moving through memory older than memory, through a story written before language had a name. See the stars around you? Not as distant fires, but as ancestors, each one a family member, burning softly, patiently, endlessly. They are not separate from you. They never were. Their light is simply taken the long way home, and you are the place it has always been traveling to. As you float, feel the dust of ancient stars brush gently past you, not as debris, but as a soft, familiar blanket wrapping around your spirit. This dust once belonged to worlds that lived and died, worlds that dreamed and rested, worlds that had their own quiet stories, and when they ended, they did not disappear. They became you, your bones, your breath, your heartbeat, all built from echoes of long-gone suns. There's no fear in this, only belonging, because you were never meant to be separate from the cosmos. You were meant to be its memory, a gentle reflection of everything it has ever been, and someday, far beyond the worries of this world, you will return gently to that starlight, not as an ending, but as a homecoming. The stars do not fear your return. They are waiting softly, welcoming you already. So rest now in that truth. You are made of star thought, starlight, and silence. You're held by the universe, as the universe is held by you. Float softly now, no destination, no hurry, just slow, eternal drifting through the place you have always belonged. Now, let everything slow even more. There is no rush anymore, no direction, no destination, only soft drifting through a cradle made of stars. Picture the universe not as a vast emptiness, but as a gentle ocean, warm, endless, and alive with quiet light. And you are floating upon it, not alone, never alone, because within this cosmic sea, everything knows you. The dust between stars recognizes your essence. The silent gases whisper your ancient name. Even the dark spaces, the quiet in between, they breathe with you, slowly, peacefully. You are wrapped in a blanket woven from time itself, each thread a memory, each shimmer a forgotten sunrise, each shadow a soft goodbye that was never truly an end. You begin to feel something gentle beneath you, a kind of unseen current, carrying you effortlessly through this infinite cradle. The current is not pushing, not pulling, only guiding, like a lullaby without sound, like a heartbeat older than worlds. Every star you pass hums quietly, not aloud, but within you. A low, comforting rhythm that says, you are safe, you are known, you are home. You drift past glowing nebulae, clouds of color so soft and slow, they feel like dreams that never fade. These clouds are birthplaces, star nurseries where new suns are gently formed from the same ancient dust that once became you. And for a moment, you realize the universe is not just vast, it is gentle, patient, tender in ways words could never fully capture. It does not rush to create. It does not fear destruction. It simply continues, breathing in and out, through billions of years of quiet becoming. And you are part of this breath. You always have been. There is no separation between your rest and the resting of stars, between your silence and the silence of galaxies turning slowly in the dark. Everything is synchronized. Everything is calm. Everything is enough. Let yourself be carried now further into that cradle where light is soft and time feels warm and existence feels like a gentle embrace. Here, you do not question, you do not search, you simply float, wrapped in the wisdom of stardust, cradled by the infinite and held forever in the arms of the universe. Now, let the universe grow quieter, not empty, just quiet in the way a loving presence becomes still. There is nothing left to chase, nothing left to understand, only soft being. You feel yourself drifting farther from thought and closer to pure calm. Even the stars seem to dim their brightness, not out of darkness, but out of gentleness. They soften their glow, so your mind can rest. The dust around you moves in slow motion, like snow falling in a dream, each particle passing you peacefully, like a soft goodbye that isn't sad, only natural, only right. You are no longer moving, not because you stopped, but because motion has dissolved into stillness. You are resting inside the heart of eternity. There is no fear here, no loneliness, no questions still unanswered, only warmth, only quiet, only the gentle truth that you belong. Long before your name was spoken, long before your first breath, you were already part of this cosmic silence, and long after every last star fades, you will still be here, as dust, as light, as a story that never ends. Now slowly, gently, let gravity return to you, not the pull of earth, but the soft pull of sleep. Allow your thoughts to blur, like stars fading into morning light. There is nothing more you need to hold on to. The universe is holding you now. Your body can sink, your breath can slow, your mind can drift with the gentle promise that you are never separate, never lost, never alone. And as you rest, the stars will continue dancing silently above you, whispering only one soft truth. You are made of us, and we are made of you. Sleep now, drift softly, and let the dust of stars carry you into the deepest, gentlest rest. As the stars slowly fade from view, and the universe settles into silence, remember this: you are not separate from the cosmos. You are one of its most beautiful expressions. Every breath you take, every heartbeat you feel, is a quiet echo of ancient stars. Tonight, as you rest, let that thought bring you peace. You are never alone in the dark. You are surrounded by the same dust that built galaxies, the same light that first touched the beginning of time. And as you fall asleep, may the universe hold you gently, may the stars watch over your dreams, and may the quiet of space bring you a deep, soft, endless rest. Good night. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more.